Leader of the UKIP Group, Neil Hamilton.
The Leader of the House will have seen that last week's budget was not an unqualified success for the Chancellor and for the Government. Does she and the Welsh Government draw any lessons from that experience with a view to how they're going to exercise the tax varying powers we're about to obtain under the Wales Act?
Well, I do think that in terms of last week's, I think it's been described as the Omnic Shambles budget, certainly a budget which has hit self-employed people very hard, a £2 billion hike in national insurance contributions, and that is affecting many of the people we talk about and the FSB talks about in terms of self-employed people who are the risk takers, spearheading growth and productivity in the economy. So, we need to have no lessons. They have to have UK government, and the spreadsheet Phil needs lessons from us, and I would say from our Cabinet Secretary for Finance and local government, because the additional funding, can I say, you've asked me the question, Neil Hamilton.
Let's listen to the Leader of the House, please.
The additional funding doesn't alter the magnitude of spending reductions we're facing for future years. Despite the small additions, our capital budget in 2019-20 will still be 11% lower in real terms than in 2010-11, and our revenue budget will still be 8% lower.
With respect, the Leader of the House didn't answer my question. What I was keen to elicit was whether it makes it more or less likely that the Welsh Government will use its powers to vary rates of income tax, to put them up rather than down, or vice versa. There is a lot of economic evidence to show that lower tax rates can actually produce higher tax revenues. In the 1980s, when Nigel Lawson reduced taxes, that was the effect. In 1979, the top 1% of earners paid 11% of all tax revenues. By 1997, they paid 21%, in spite of the fact that the top rate of income tax had been reduced from 83% in the pound to 40%. So, is it not sensible for the Welsh Government to think in terms of making Wales into a kind of tax haven within the United Kingdom?
I don't think we'd expect anything different from the Leader of UKIP. I would have hoped that the Leader of UKIP would be considering the impact of the Chancellor's budget last week, the impact on the people that we represent. The impact of the fact that the sting in the tail of that budget and forecast is that there's a £3.5 billion cut planned by the UK Government for 2019-20, which could mean another £175 million taken out of the Welsh Government budget. Now, that's what I am concerned with, and of course we have to look at that in terms of also the implications of this budget, not just for the self-employed, but some of the poorest people in Wales. Welfare spending per head of population will decline by 4% in real terms over the Office of Budget Responsibilities forecast period.
With respect, I'll try again. I still haven't had an answer to my question. Does the Leader of the House accept that lower tax rates can produce higher tax revenues, in which case everybody wins?
Well, as far as the UK Government is concerned, we take responsibility, and indeed we have our responsibilities that we're now taking through in legislation in terms of the devolved taxes that are coming our way, and we look forward to debate on this in the next couple of weeks. But I think we need to recognise, and I hope Neil Hamilton recognised, the adverse impact of the decisions that were made by spreadsheet Phil last week, where he fumbled his first budget, and recognise as well that's bad, the fact that it is undermining their mission to promote the UK as a place to start a new business.
Question